Good evening. So I don't know if you can hear me, but this is this is pound USD. Let me take out the session breaks. Obviously, man, there's no power, and lately I've just been like it's like every day I wake, I understand the world is set up differently. Like I see a new light to the day. All right. Some persons see reputation of day and night, but I've trained myself to see beyond that. I think life should be great. I think anything anyone wants, first and foremost, if you bring it up with God, trust me, you're going to get it. But God is not God is not just a designated freelancer, yeah? So the way God set up the program of life, if you must get anything, you have to work towards what you want. Like you have to aspire to become. And no one was born, walking from the womb. I mean, there are rarities. Did I encounter one? No. Now, some say this is the grace of God. Yes. Sometimes, just as every perfect product, there's a glitch. So, there's always a rarity to life. Do miracles happen? Yes. Do I call them miracles? Yes. Do I believe something scientifically can be proven? Yes. Do I believe scientifically some things are, just possible? And all everything starts with the creative power and creative thinking. So basically, all I'm saying is, if you've been following, um, this is an interesting chart because this was. Let me just move up to the weekly. So for the sake of hindsight, I'm going to be discussing. Um, I'm going to be discussing what's it called? Monday 13th. Sorry for the interruption. I was working, something came up. This is a previous week. Now, according to according to my study and analysis, all right, immediately liquidity has been swept. So as soon as we have liquidity swept, as soon as we sweep liquidity and we do what? We put in a reversal. In this case, we have like I basically have one here, all right? Now, body wise, if you're looking at a liquidity sweep, primarily when I'm looking at a liquidity sweep or like liquidity sweep for me, all right, it has to meet some certain criteria. All right, certain things have to be in alignment for my liquidity and change in the state of delivery to happen. Now, on a weekly time frame, this is our change in the state of delivery. All right, this is our change in the state of delivery. Why is that important? See us taking out January's high sometime in March. All right, and then March is doing what? March is closing back in. All right, March is closing back in. So we have this retracement and we have this buy. Now, if you eventually bump into people who trade things like support and resistance and all that, like support and resistance, other blocks. Now, these are certain things you would hear in the market, all right, in the community. You hear things like other blocks, and you're wondering, what are other blocks? All right, you hear things like breaker blocks, mitigation blocks, you hear things like fair value gaps, and you're wondering, like, what what do these things actually mean? Like, what do they mean? Well, support and resistance, any I want to call them, trend line, they all work and tell you the same story. The story they are basically telling is what? They are all telling price. So this is the weekly time frame. I know I started out trying to explain what we're looking on the lower time frame, but since we're up here, I just want to give it an idea of the same thing. You see how this low, this candle's wick is respecting the body of this candle, all right? Respecting the body of this candle. Now, this candle is important to us because this was the last down close candle before price made this impulsive move that created this word here, changing the state of delivery. Then we break, you understand? All right, let me take this out. So ideally, like, life is life. Oh. Life is life. Life is life. Life is life. You see, I read something somewhere that spoke more on something about time and chance, right? Like, things don't just happen because they happen. Events lead to things. And in the markets as well, we have we have something similar as well. If you've been following my 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 cuts, my uploads, you must have noticed I talk a lot about I talk a lot about fractals. All right, you hear me talk about CRT fractals. Now, the candle range is basically taken from. So I'll just run it down again quickly, so you understand when I say price is fractal. Now we have 24. We have 12 months making a year, and if I were to divide 12 months equally, I'll definitely come up with give or take 4 months, like 4 cycles, not 4 months, anyways, 4 cycles. Now, the 4 cycles are going to be January, February, March. It's God's grace that I'm even using the higher time frame, which is the 1 week here to illustrate this. All right, so January, February, March is number one. January, February, March. April, May, June. April, May, June, July. April, May, June, yeah, is number two. April, May, June, July. July, August, September is number three. October, November, December is number four. These are the 4 cycles. Now, at any given time, price is going to do what? Accumulate yearly. So January till March serves like the opening range for the year. Now, that is a 3 month cycle. So you take the high of that candle and you take the low of that candle, and then you mark out what? I'm marking out what? I'm looking for equilibrium of that zone, equilibrium of that range. Why am I looking for equilibrium of that range? I'm basically looking for an equilibrium on that range because price is going to do two things, one of two things. Price is either going to be too expensive to buy, and price is either going to be what? Too low to sell. I mean, if suddenly land or something, Gary was trading, Gary is a necessity, and Gary was selling for 1 million naira per bag, and suddenly you had, like, let's say 50 50 bags, and suddenly Gary crashes down to 50 naira. You say, I can manage. You've just lost 950,000, or let's use 1,000 naira. You've lost 950 naira automatically just by buying Gary at 1,000 naira for 50 bags. So you see how it works. Now, the real sense is, people think the psychology of these cycles. All right, when you move from the yearly, you're looking at 3 month cycles. Now, in 3 month cycles, you're also looking at what? Your monthly cycles. What did January do? Where did January open? Where did February open? Where did February close? And how far did it trade? And how low did it trade? The psychology of the market, the whole concept of these markets, the reason why I'm waking up and punching my button to say I want to buy or I want to sell, it is because no day is the same. Like since I was born, I've never had an exact same day. It is true everything around me may look alike, but I'm no longer living in the house I grew up in. I mean, I'm no longer in high school. But yes, there was a time I was there. I had to be there. So that is how price moves. But the fact that I've never had a day in my life that actually looks the same or played out the same way doesn't negate the fact that there are certain familiarities or similarities in events. Yeah, there are some things over the course of my life I can tell, ah, this is what this thing feels like. Yeah, like you can decipher. That's how people derive or come to conclusion between good and bad. You simply do not like it, it makes it bad. But there's an adage where I'm from in Nigeria. I'm from Nigeria, of course. Big shout out to Nigeria and Nigerians everywhere, all over the world. They say, uh, I think I just missed it. But it's a popular adage, something like that. All right. So no day is the same, no price action is the same. So you don't just go into the market thinking, yes, I'm going to be buying for the entire trading week. You don't just go and say, okay, simply because Monday was bearish, the bears were in the market, and also Tuesday, Wednesday was bearish. You don't expect Thursday and Friday to also be bearish. Now, are there times where this would happen? Yes, but it's usually at the cost of something. So, with the help of cycles, all right, the same thing I'm doing for 1 year, splitting into 4 cycles, I'm doing that for 24 hours, all right? I'm doing that for 24 hours, and basically, if I divide 24 hours by 4, I need to get an equal amount of hours. So I'll be having 6 hours. All right. So I'm having 6 hours. The first 6 hours of the day tells a different kind of story. Then the second 6 hours of the day tells you a different kind of story. The third 6 hour of the day also tells you a different kind of story. Even if, put it this way, the fastest of cars in the world, or even the fastest of planes in modern warfare, even the B bombers, no matter how far they fly, they don't fly forever. The engines has to cool. So trading is more of a psychological game anyways. It's I didn't start out analyzing the charts, but when I started, I knew I definitely wanted to do this. All right. And also, whatever I'm telling you here, you just have to go back to your charts and you have to go back to your charts and thoroughly look at these things play out. All right. You have to thoroughly go and watch these things play out. See, study for yourself. Study for yourself. I think the best kind of experience is one that befalls a man himself, or one a man has to go through himself. And when I say man, I'm not trying to be gender biased. It just goes to say everyone. All right. Everyone has to experience certain things for themselves. All right. A person whose body is, stricken with pain cannot really explain how how painful the situation is unless it is self-experience. Take for example, if you've never been beaten by a dog, you don't understand how powerful the jaws might be. So that's just one thing. Nigerians say we know that we are the same size. Yes, we know that we are the same size, and that is the same thing in price action. Every week is not going to be the same thing. Now, if you look at April 6th, the entire week of April 6th, which was like from markets opened from 6th April and closed on 10th April. All right, and closed on 10th April. So we had like, 5 days, 5 trading days there. Okay, that's so you see how impulsive, how huge this one candle is. It's actually taking the liquidity from what? One, two, three, four. It traded right into 4 weeks, like 4 consecutive weeks. It traded that high. But you see how last week was trading. The week that followed, which was like April 13th. April 13th open, tried to be bullish but was dancing. Then we had the previous week, which was like April 20th. That week, all right? We had price open on 20th of April, and I saw price close on 24th of April. You see how this week looked. Clearly looking at these sets of candles, all right, just mere looking at the chart, I don't know if definitely I'm speaking from like hindsight and personal investment or personal observations, all right, personal observations. And I can honestly tell you that, I can honestly tell you that looking at these four candles here, no one is actually the same. This is very huge. Every single week was. So whoever had like a buy opportunity during April 6th that week would have made some serious, gained some serious profit. And probably you would have lost some of that profit like last week because you are anticipating this price is instantly going to come and take this high. Yes, it does feel like this is where price is headed for. The high of January 26th. It definitely feels like on the sterling, we're going to be getting the 38.70 level. All right, the 38.70 level is where price is headed for. Like I said, open your chart. You already have trading view. All right, so open your chart and study. Just watch the levels I'm actually telling you to watch out for, and you would be amazed what price does. All right. So so that's the change in the state of delivery, liquidity and all. You see how this week we first traded down into what? Into last week's trading. So when you see this particular stuff here on the lower time frame, just understand that this is liquidity from previous week. Okay, I think I would have to extend that. So we get it clearly. Now, because we're bullish, one thing you want to understand, or one thing I'm using as a confluence and also put into price is this. If I mean, you would want to write this down. If price opens like we did here, the opening price was at 35,334. Just as we opened here, if price trades lower, chances are prices are not going to sell. Now, newbies, people who are hungry for money would be on this move. But do you know what smart money does? Smart money traps you. This is where smart money takes everyone that has been selling out. You're thinking, oh, this market has been selling, obviously, and price is going to start selling now. But what price did was price traded to this low of the previous week, swept it, and then did what? Reversed. Either on Tuesday or I don't know, Wednesday, this reversal happened. So when we go on the lower time frame, we are going to be able to see that now. So this is where we opened. This is 35334. You know, some of these coordinates are important. If you did technical drawing in school, I mean, using the pencil and the ruler was quite exciting. So I'm a technician, anyways. So basically, these things you're seeing are not by any means a financial advice because I'm not telling you price is always going to. I mean, I've been bickering on it over and over. It doesn't guarantee that price is going to do that. But you can see on the weekly when we opened at 35334, all right, when they opened at 35334 for the week, we started trading down. So on Tuesday was a down day. Wednesday we formed what? The reversal. It was a down day. So everyone who was selling on Thursday, hoping that price would take out the low on 23rd April, automatically lost. Of last week Thursday, price swept them. So I'm going to be just like reviewing the chart with you. So today being Thursday, you see, this is where we would have had the sweet entry on pound USD. Now this is multiple confluence. Primarily, I don't put trend lines on my chart. No, no, no. I don't like. It's not like I can't use trend lines. Of course, I do use trend lines. Of course, I love trend lines. I know them because trust me, trend lines were one of the foundational things or the rudimental class I took, before I got where I got to. So it's not like any knowledge is wasted, but at the end of the day, you just come to the realization that price action is the best. So currently, I'm a price action trader. All right, I've been able to study the chart over time. I've studied how price moves, and I can basically tell you with a 90%, 95% certainty that yes, I'll give myself 80 because I'm not a machine. All right, but I'll give you an 80% chance telling you that the market is going to do this. Now, have I studied across different asset classes? Yes. I've tested this same price action. I've been able to deduce from the charts that I'm currently explaining on the sterling. I mean, it works across every asset class. But the one thing you need to understand is asset classes don't move the same way. The worth of sterling, all right, it's quite different from the worth of gold. It's quite different from what oil is selling at. It's quite different from cocoa. It's quite different from oil. It's quite different from what Tesla is selling its stock. Now, these markets move ridiculously, but that's a subject for another day. So the strategy basically works, and I used trend line to you see how first tap we come down, second tap we come down, third time you see we tap a second time we sweep back, and then the third time we tap we do what? We come down, sweep this one, reverse. Now as soon as this happened, we had what? The first change in the state of delivery here. But you need to be do what? I need to be sure. This is where I observed what? A market structure shift. So this would have been for a safe entry. Maybe my long position would have been here, and my stop at this low, and our target 1:2. And you see how we had that trade in what? 1 hour. So if you are risking 160, um I don't know. I wouldn't say risk any amount. So if you're risking $1, all right, if you're risking $1, you definitely had made maybe 32 dollar, or maybe okay, you would have made roughly 32 because it would have been 2 times of 16 or something. I don't know. You just have to watch your chart, all right? I did that for explanatory purposes. I'm not really taking a trade. But this is a market structure shift. It gives you what? A very good risk to reward. Your low here. Are you saying? It gives you a very good risk to reward. Now, this is a very conservative low. But the safe entry would have been here, where you had this first change in the state of delivery. And then you have this low. Probably for this, you'll be targeting here. This is your first draw on liquidity. Then you take this one. You see how we have the same 1:4. All right. So if you fine tune it, ideally your stop wants to be above the low. Now you might not understand why I'm really putting and saying also the market structure shift, but that stuff you saw on the higher time frame, on the weekly, daily, this is what it looks like. I'm going to put in something I call session breaks. Are you seeing? This is a session break. This is where we open for the week. This is where we open for the week. Shit, I don't like this stuff. This is where we open for the week, and you see us just trading down, trading down. So if you understand, you see price trades lower, meaning what? Bullish day. Now I just want to show you. I want to explain what I was telling you, that once price opens and trades lower, chances are you're going up. The real move is up. And if price opens and trades upwards, chances are the real move is downwards. You apply the same thing for the week. If you're looking at a weekly profile, you apply the same thing for the weekly profile. Then if you're using it for daily, then you're looking at what? Sessions. Now, using the same price, you're looking for whatever move you're looking for, the big move on on let's say Wednesday, or any day you're looking for this move to capitalize on this move. These ones you would have taken. Tuesday offered a very good short position. You understand? And today being Thursday, you see us taking what? A very good position. So the entirety of Wednesday was a consolidation day. You see, we didn't quite sweep this level. We didn't quite take out this high. But then we finally did early this morning during Asia. All right, during that overlap between Asia and London. All right. Now this is me explaining. This is me explaining this long move. All right. This is me explaining quarterly theory on what? On the 60-minute chart, because I'm trading what? The daily chart. So whatever is happening on the daily chart, I also, and you want to look at what is happening on the 60 minutes, which is basically your hourly. All right. So that's it. And you see price come body wise, closes, and then does what? Returns back. All this happens during London. So London sweeps liquidity today and then does what? Break. It breaks and closes body wise. You see where we have, you see the market structure shift earlier, but this would have been like this consecutive candle would have been, let's say, this would have been Asian session, all right? So this is a 4-hour order block, which would be like a change in the state of delivery. You see, we rule it down there and then take your entry and boom, targeting this high. It took us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It took 6 hours for price to hit this. All right. Let me bring up my line and explain. Okay, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So can you see now, just by these lines I have, you notice that each of these market cycle is quite different from the other. So this was the first 4 hours of price. I need another color. This was the first 6 hours of price. This became the second 6 hours of price. Then we have the third cycle. One, two, three, four, five, six. All right. So we have one more hour before markets officially close. But what do you notice about these boxes I have here? Something unique is happening with the boxes. You notice that the first one here opens and accumulates. The first 6 hours accumulated. Then the second 6 hours of price did what? Manipulated. Inside of that second 6 hours, we have what? We have Asia overlapping London. All right. Then we have what? The third quarter of the day, which is like the third 6 hour time frame, or the third 6 hour period of the day. All right. And you have London overlapping with what? With New York. And you see the impulsive run we had when the stock market opened at 9:30. All right, when the bell rang and markets opened, equities market, and you see boom, you see the rally. So the third quarter of the day was a bullish day. So all I'm saying is there are different ways you can actually, go about the market. All right, like you won't understand. I have different things in my arsenal for different reasons, for different purpose. I'm telling you. I know things about the chart that you probably wouldn't get in 1 year or by just watching one video alone. You see how beautiful this looks? You see how beautiful this looks? It's remarkable. So when people woke up early this morning and they saw their chart, they don't understand what is happening. Asia, the Asian session is already causing a manipulation, trading to the downside. So most novice, people who don't understand market because they just read one dumb book, acting like dumb money. All right, people who don't understand their craft, who do not understand what is happening in the market, will see this and say, let me continue selling, price is going to fall. And that is where smart money, comes in. And during London session, they do what? They reprice the market. They reprice the market, trading what? Above opening price now. So as soon as you're trading back above open price on London session, you're looking for what? It's a confluence to do what? Continue. You see our trend line here happening in London session, confluence. Are you seeing? This is a beautiful confluence. Let's say the line chart. What happens? Are you seeing? Remarkable. This is remarkable. Now, this is the line chart. Do you see how the bodies of this can? You see where they curve? You notice how every 6 hour time, every 6 hour period, this thing I'm giving you, see, this is premium. If you watch and you really understand this, well, you're not going to get it once, so you would have to look for it over and over again until your eyes can definitely see it. All right, it's like going to school over and over and over and over and over, and all of a sudden, the route to your street, you know it like the back of your palm. All right, so you notice how every 6 hour time period, price does something. So price is fractal. In 6 hours, how much can you split time in 6 hours? All right, so this is the video, and basically all I'm saying is price was remarkable. I'd like to see if I have this one up here. This is US 30, and this is remarkable. So this is a perfect example of accumulation, manipulation, and then we just drive. You notice how price has been range bound since last week. Price has just been inside this wheelhouse. Price has just been inside this wheelhouse. I've highlighted it. So let me look for Monday. So this is where we open for Monday. So we opened on Monday. Are you seeing? Now, what I'm showing you is actually the weekly profile. This is the weekly profile. On Monday, when price opened, see, we were just consolidating. We were just consolidating. We consolidated for Monday, Tuesday, all through the New York, all through Asia and London sessions of Wednesday, which was yesterday. All right. And then at New York, we traded below that consolidation and swept, you know, some sort of liquidity. All right. We swept liquidity from the previous week and repriced into what? A higher time frame, equilibrium level, and you see us reacting, the change in the state of delivery, and then we move up to the long side. So this is price for you. Everything today rallied. Everything really, really, really rallied. Like today was the perfect run in price. All right. You see us with this is the euro, so this is like fiber. Sterling was really, really strong, obviously very strong. You see how this one is taking out liquidity proper. All right, it's taking liquidity proper and behaving. Whereas Euro USD is still trying to reach this level, but it's going to definitely buy. All right, it's going to buy. So the same thing that happened there happened here. You see. However, on Euro USD, we had what? A deeper retracement. All right. On Euro USD, we had a deeper retracement. You see us. This is where we have our change in the state of delivery. We have our change in the state of delivery. And then we have the market structure shift here as well. You see price coming back to retest that level. If I go down to the lower time frame, you see, we have what? A block here, other block there, and then we also have like a fair value gap somewhere there. Exactly, you see, fair value gap, put it low at this point, and this would have been a very fine entry. So this is risking 10. This is 1:3. Beautiful, beautiful risk to reward. Let's go back up. Do you see what it looks like? All right. I hope this video helps you anyways. I thank God for being able to put it out there. Um, I'm super excited for you to watch. Sorry, you might not have clarity in what I'm saying, but if you listen again, maybe you find clarity. Plus, I hope it helps you. All right. We'll get better together.